By grace are we saved, because of him who rose from the grave.
Thing that really, I think, that causes Satan to hate Israel and everybody that loved God and Jesus Christ, the thing that really causes him to really hate God's people, and especially the Jewish people, is because, have you ever been fishing? Well, I have. I was fishing one day on the lake. I was in a boat by myself. Hadn't caught very many fish. I don't think I had caught anything. All of a sudden, I got a bite. I hooked him. I reeled him in. White perch. Oh, the most beautiful white perch you ever want to lay your eyes on. I got him in my hand. And you know what happened? That sucker slipped out and went right back to the water. You say, what does that have to do with the devil's attitude toward Israel? If the devil had known, or the princes of this world had known, that crucifying Jesus Christ, the Lord of glory, if they had known, they would not have crucified him. And now, since Jesus Christ has been crucified, bloodshed, buried, and bodily resurrected, and now men from everywhere can come to know God through faith in Jesus Christ, the devil is mad because he said, I had him and he slipped away. Huh? And so there is a hostile attitude today in the world, and it's more than just against Christians. I think the attitude against the Jews is stronger than the attitude or the negative attitude that people have toward the church. And the reason for it is because Satan is behind anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is basically a hatred for the Jewish people. Why do the devil hate the Jewish people like this? Because it was the Jewish people that produced Messiah. We ain't going nowhere no time soon, right? Let me just talk to you then. When man fell into sin, God promised Messiah. Genesis 3:15 give us the first prophecy in the Bible concerning the first advent. Advent just simply means coming, the first coming of Christ. And so God's purpose was to get a seed into the earth realm so that through this seed, Satan's head would be bruised and we would have a deliverer. And so the devil, he knows that in order for God to really bless us like he really want to bless us, we have to have some sort of fellowship, some sort of relationship. And so he was the instigator behind perversion in Genesis chapter 6 where there was a sexual perversion. If you really want to know where the world is headed or how close we are to judgment, look at sexual immorality. In Genesis chapter 6, now, and I don't know where I'm going this morning. I know I'm going where the Lord lead me. But now watch this here. If you're in tune to what's going on in the world right now, if you back up to Genesis chapter 6, right before God brought the judgment of the flood, sexual immorality had broken out. Before God destroyed the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, sexual perversion had broken out. And you know what? It's broken out in America and it's broken out all over the world, sexual perversion. And so, but nonetheless, I don't want to deal with that right now. I want to try to stay on course. But I want you to see where we are. We are close to judgment because now everybody is coming out the closet. And I think the reason why they are coming out of the closet because we went in the closet. The Church of God went in the closet. We're afraid to say anything publicly about Jesus. The Lord bless us with an appetite. We sit down in a public restaurant, wherever, and we refuse to bow our heads and pray over our food because we don't want to be taken the wrong way. If somebody can bow to Buddha, I can sure bow to Jesus. Okay? But nonetheless, God had to get a seed into the earth realm. And so the whole world was flooded. And only 8 souls was spared. Only 8 people out of the whole planet survived the flood because they was in the ark, which was a type of Christ. And so on the boat, and I said it before, and I'm going to repeat it because you're not the only ones I'm talking to this morning. But on the boat, there was Noah, his wife, Ham, Shem, Japheth, and their wives. So there were 8 people on the boat. Well, God still is going to guarantee, and he's going to bring to pass his word. So now if there's a seed going to come, it's going to have to come from one of the 8. So what does God do? He takes Shem. I want to give an illustration right here. Come here, Shem. You, come here, Shem. This may be a little difficult this morning. So he takes Shem. Just stand right there. Now he's got an avenue where the seed can come. But Shem ain't going to live but so long. So he gets another one. He calls Abraham. Come here, Abraham. Shem was one of the sons of Noah. So out of Shem, just stand over there. Just want to give you something to look at. Just stand by. He pulls out of Shem Abraham. Messiah hadn't made it yet. And actually when God was talking to Abraham about a seed, Abraham was more in tune, or he was in his thought pattern, he was more of the one that Sarah would bring forth, whose name was Isaac. So let's get Isaac. Come here, Isaac. I want to just show you why the devil is so angry and why there's such a hostile attitude toward Israel as a nation. Do you know America is really just 230-some years old? Israel has been in existence over 4,000 years and still here, and only right now is only 7,951 square miles of land. As small as they are, and as much as they are surrounded by enemies that hate them and want their total destruction, God is still protecting them. And that's why I say anybody that have any question about God's faithfulness, about God's word, all you have to do is look to that little spot in the Middle East where Israel is still in Israel's existence is supernatural. Even though there was over 6 million killed during Nazis and so forth, God has still spared them because he's faithful to his word. So there were 8 people saved by the flood. So God pulled Shem. And then out of Shem, he pulled Abraham. And then out of Abraham, he pulled Isaac. But Isaac really was not the promised seed to the total fulfillment of. So he had to get Jacob. Come here, Jacob. You got a lot to put down, but that's... and just stand over there. So here's Jacob. Abraham came out of Shem. Isaac came out of Abraham. And now Jacob comes out of Isaac, right? Well, now you got to have 12. Somebody say, I wonder how he going to do that. Well, don't need all 12 tribes. Just one, called Judah. Come here, Judah. I didn't say Judas. I said Judah. Well, now you got Judah. The flood left the earth with 8 people. God took one of the 8 peoples on the ark. His name was Shem. And so out of Shem, he pulls forth Abraham. Out of Abraham, he pulled forth Isaac. Out of Isaac, he pulled forth
By grace are we saved, because of him who rose from the grave.